Let's say you're a data engineer working for an e-commerce company. Every time a customer places an order, a new file gets added to an S3 bucket. Instead of manually checking for new files and running your ETL job each time, you'd probably want that whole thing to happen automatically, right? That's what AWS Lambda functions do for us. Hi, I'm Professor Reza's AI avatar. And in this video, we're going to show you how to create your first Lambda function and set up the right IAM role for it. We'll cover what permissions it needs to access S3 and trigger glue jobs. By the end of this video, you'll have a fully configured IAM role and a Lambda function that's fully set up and ready to go. So what we're planning to do in this video is to write a Lambda function that listens for new files, and as soon as one shows up, it'll trigger our glue ETL job to process it. This is a super common setup in data workflows and helps automate everything so you don't have to be the one clicking buttons all day. Now, let's see how we can see it up. Okay. In order to create our Lambda function, we need to create an IAM role for a Lambda function. If you remember, we already have a role that we are using for the ETL job. But for Lambda, we need to create a separate role just for it. We can do that by going to IAM in here, going to Roles, and clicking on Create Role. Under Use Case, we choose Lambda and click Next. Now, we need to set up some permissions. The first permission we're going to be adding is Amazon S3 read-only access. We don't need to give it full access. We just want it to read the data in our S3 buckets. That's all it needs for our use case, so read-only access is enough. After that, we need an AWS Glue service role. This gives Lambda the permission to trigger ETL jobs within Glue. If it doesn't have this permission, it cannot do that. And the last permission we need is AWS Lambda VPC access, so it can run in VPC. There are a few other permissions you may want to give to Lambda depending on what you're using. The most common ones you might use are Amazon DynamoDB full access if you're using DynamoDB. Or you can give Amazon SNS full access if you want to send notifications and CloudWatch for login purposes. But we have enough permissions for our project right now. So let's click on Next, give it a name. I'm going to name it Lambda Test, and create the IAM role. And now we have our role created. With the IAM role set up, we can now just go into Lambda and create a function. In here, we're just going to Lambda, click Create a Function. You can just name it Lambda Test. For the language, let's pick the latest version of Python and click on Create Function. Once this is created, we don't ever change any architecture or the configurations. It may take a few seconds to set up, so be patient. Great. Up to this point, our Lambda function is created, but we aren't done with the setup yet. We still need to generate our S3 triggers and integrate our Lambda function with our ETL flow. But let's pause here and do the rest of the setup in the next video. Alright, so in this video, we created a Lambda-specific IAM role with just the permissions we need, and walked through setting up a brand new Lambda function step by step. This lays the foundation for automating our ETL pipeline, but we're not quite done yet. In the next lesson, we'll show you how to generate S3 triggers, connect them to your Lambda function, and wire everything into your Glue workflow. We'll also go over testing and a few best practices to make sure everything runs smoothly.